In Spyon, you're vying to become the super spy in a one-on-one tactical game against your arch rival. Your reputation is at stake.
Spyon is a two-player game that plays in around 30 minutes. In Spyon, you will be using missions to move spies between departments and ministers within departments in order to score spy points. The number of points scored is dictated by who dominates a department and whether the minister in the department is dealing with a crisis or has been assassinated.
After just 8 rounds, the spy who was in second place, will be declared the super spy and will have achieved a cunning victory. The spy in first place may have scored the most points, but they drew too much attention to their nefarious activities. The state will be interviewing them shortly. The player in second place got the balance right. They managed to get enough spy points to beat the spy in third place without being noticed by the state.
Place the 3 department boards at the top of the playing area with the yellow nuke tech department on the left, the blue nanotech department in the middle, and the purple biotech on the right. Place the foreign office board below the departments. The foreign office contains 2 tracks, the department token track and the double agent spy track. To fill the double agent track, take the 6 dark grey spy cubes and place one on slots 1, 2, 3 and 5, 6, 7. Slots 4 and 8 are left empty. Next, fill the department token slots by first taking 1 department token of each type, a yellow nuke tech, a blue nanotech and a purple biotech. Then randomly select 5 more department tokens and add these to the original 3. Now, randomly place these 8 tokens on one of each of the 8 slots in the department token track.
Finally, take the 3 minister meeples and place these above the first occurring token of that minister's department. For example, if this was the random setup of the department tokens, then the purple biotech minister would go here, the blue nanotech minister here, and the yellow nuke tech minister here.
Take the spyon tracker and place it next to the other boards. Take the last dark grey double agent spy cube and place it on the bottom slot of the middle track. This slot has a thick dark grey border. Now the players set up their boards. The player playing spy green takes the green mission selection board, the 9 spy cubes and the 9 mission selection tokens. Place the mission tokens unused, light side up. Take one of the spy cubes and place it on the starting slot for green on the spy point tracker board. This is the slot with the heavy green border. The starting position indicates that spy green has 2 spy points at the beginning of the game. The player playing spy orange now does the same for their setup. Take the suitcase token and randomly give it to the green or orange player. Flip the token to indicate which player it is, matching the icon and colour of the spy it was assigned to.
This means that this player will have the spy ops role at the beginning of the game.
Finally, lay the player aids next to the relevant boards. And this completes the setup. In Spyon, you play either as spy orange or spy green. There is also a double agent spy which can be manipulated by either player.
During the game, you'll be trying to manipulate the spy tracker cubes on the spy tracker board. Where your spy tracker cube is at the end of the round will determine if you are currently winning or losing. If you are losing, you will become spy ops for the next round and be able to determine who goes first in that round.
You can affect the position of the cubes on the spy position tracker by spying in one or more of the 3 different departments. You can score 3, 1 or 0 points in each department depending on how many spy cubes you have in a department and whether the minister for the department is either present, absent, has been assassinated, or is just dealing with a crisis that you concocted. To be able to affect what ministers are up to, you will need to select either the assassinate or crisis missions from your mission board. To manipulate spy cubes that are already in a department, you will be selecting missions to switch, relocate, regroup, or infiltrate. At the beginning of each round, consult the Foreign Office to see which department it currently has access to. Each round, a different department will be accessible, and this will determine where that round's double agent will be placed, when the minister will enter their department for the first time, and where your spy cubes will go if you do an infiltrate mission this round. Number 1. Foreign Office actions. A. Place a double agent spy cube, if any, into reception, and B. Place a minister, if any, into their department. Number 2. Mission selection. The first player selects their missions, followed by the second player. Number 3. Mission execution. The first player executes their missions, followed by the second player. Number 4. Departments. Tidy up. Spy cubes in the reception area are moved onto the spy scoring area in the department. Number 5. Scoring. Assess domination and add spy points, if any, to the spy position tracker. Number 6. Assess spy positions. On the spy point tracker board, determine who is the spy ops next round, or, if this is the last round, the spy on winner. A round begins by moving the double agent and minister into the relevant department from the Foreign Office. The department tokens show which department will be accessible in each of the 8 rounds. In rounds 1, 2, 3 and 5, 6, 7, a double agent will be going to the department for that round. So in this example, a double agent will be going into the purple biotech department in rounds 1 and 5, into the blue nanotech department in rounds 2, 3 and 7, and into the yellow nuke tech department in round 6. In round 4 and 8, there is no double agent. When a double agent spy cube is placed into a department, it always enters via the reception area. This is the general rule that applies to all spy cubes entering a department. They will always enter via the reception area. A minister will enter its department the first time that its department token appears on the Foreign Office department token track. So in this example, the purple biotech minister will be placed on their ministerial spot in round 1, the blue nanotech minister in round 2, and the yellow nuke tech minister in round 4. The department token also decides where spy cubes from spy green or spy orange will be going if they perform an infiltrate mission this round. Missions will be discussed in more detail later. At the beginning of the next round, it's recommended that you remove the token for the previous round. This will help to keep track of the rounds and to identify which department token is accessible for the current round. There are 2 main types of missions, those that affect spy cubes already in departments and those that affect ministers that have entered their departments. Missions are first selected and then executed in strict player order. Who goes first is decided by the player who came last in the previous round. This player has the role of spy ops for the round and can decide if they, or their opponent, goes first this round. At the beginning of the game, this was decided randomly at setup. Missions are selected by a player placing a mission token on their mission selection board. The board consists of 3 areas. The central column indicates which mission is being selected for. Either side of this are slots that the player places their mission selection token onto. The slots on the right are for selecting just a single mission. To select a mission, simply place your mission token on any free slot. The slots to the left are for dual mission selection. Here, exactly 2 tokens must be placed. The missions selected must be of different types, so you cannot select switch switch or relocate relocate. Also, there must be 2 unoccupied slots available. So if later in the game there was only 1 slot left, you wouldn't be able to do a dual mission. You couldn't, for instance, place 1 token in the dual mission area and the other in the single mission area.
As mentioned, mission selection is done in player order. Let's say that at setup, Spy Green was given the role of Spy Ops.
They decided that for this round, Spy Orange will go first. So Spy Orange would need to select their missions first before Spy Green selects theirs. If Spy Orange chose a dual mission, then they would have to select them both before Spy Green does their selections. After selection, and again in player order, each mission is executed. A mission can be executed in one of 2 ways, either as its stated mission, for example switch or crisis, or it can be used as an infiltrate mission instead. So a mission is either relocate or infiltrate, assassinate or infiltrate, but never both. You cannot select an infiltrate mission directly, but you must first select one of the other selectable missions on your mission selection board and then use that mission as an infiltrate at the point of execution. You do not need to declare or indeed decide how you will execute a mission at the point of selection, only at the point of execution. If you use your mission as an infiltrate mission, you will be taking one of the spy cubes next to your mission board and placing it into a department. However, you cannot place it into any department. You can only place it into the department that is shown on the Foreign Office Department token track for that round. This shows which department is currently accessible.
So, for example, if this was round 4,
then any infiltrate mission execution will result in Spy Green or Spy Orange, depending on who's executing the mission, ending up in the reception area of the Nuke Tech department. Remember, all spy cubes entering a department must go to the reception area first. This is, of course, the same department that any double agent spy cube, and possibly the minister, entered for that round. This is the only way to get your spy cubes into a department. All other mission executions target spy cubes or ministers already in 1 or more departments. There are 2 missions that target ministers that are already in a department. These are the assassinate and crisis missions. Both can only be used on a minister that is currently on its ministerial spot, and both will result in you moving your spy tracker cube down on the spy tracker position board. Moving a minister off their ministerial spot will result in spy points being able to be scored in that department. To execute the crisis mission, first move your spy tracker cube down 1 slot on the spy position tracker board. Next, move the minister from their ministerial spot to the crisis spot. To execute the assassinate mission, first move your spy tracker cube down 2 slots on the spy position tracker board, and then move the minister from their ministerial spot to the assassinated spot. Do note that if you attempt these missions but cannot fulfill all parts of them, then you will have to use them as infiltrate missions. You can never simply abandon a mission and do nothing. If, for instance, you cannot move your spy tracker cube down the required number of slots, or the minister is not on their ministerial spot, they may, for instance, have been moved by your rival earlier in the game, then you would have to convert this mission to an infiltrate mission. If the crisis mission was played, then, at the end of scoring for this round, return the minister to their ministerial spot.
If the assassinate mission was played, then the minister will be returned to the Foreign Office at the end of the round. The minister is returned to the next available unplayed slot that matches their icon. If no matching icon is shown on an unplayed slot, then the minister is removed from the game. So, for instance, if the blue nanotech minister had been assassinated, then they would be returned to round 3 in the Foreign Office. If it had been the biotech minister, then they would be placed above round 5.
Finally, and just to be clear, you cannot use these missions to move a minister from, say, the assassinate spot to the ministerial spot. They can only be used on a minister that is on its ministerial spot at the time that the mission execution begins. There are 3 missions that can manipulate spy cubes already in a department. These are switch, relocate, and regroup. The execution of these missions will only be able to target spy cubes that are in the spying area of a department. Any spy cubes that are in the reception area of a department cannot be the target of these missions. You can think of the reception area as a protected area from mission execution. Essentially, the switch mission is swapping a spy cube from one department with a spy cube in a different department. More formally, the switch mission is used to move a spy cube from the spying area of Department A to the reception area of Department B, and then move a spy cube from the spying area of Department B to the reception area of Department A. It's important to note that this mission can only ever involve 2 departments, A to B and B to A, never A to B and C to B, or A to B and B to C. Also, the spy cubes being moved must be of different colours. If you move the double agent spy cube from Department A, then you'd have to move either a spy green or spy orange cube from Department B. It couldn't be a double agent spy cube from Department B. So, if your only option at the time of execution was to move spy cubes of the same colour, then you would have to convert this mission into an infiltrate mission instead. The relocate mission will result in a spy cube in the spying area of one department being moved to the reception area of a different department. The regroup mission involves you taking 2 actions. The first is to remove a double agent spy cube from the spying area of one of the departments. This spy cube is now removed from the game. The second action is to retrieve a used spy mission token from your mission board and place it back into your supply, unused side up. This will free up a slot on your mission board and give you an extra mission token, but not an extra turn. Both players will only ever have 8 turns. Again, note that if it's not possible to fulfill all the elements of the stated mission, then you must use the mission as an infiltrate mission instead. To be clear, you either do all of the mission or none of it. You cannot do partial missions. For instance, you can't use a switch mission as a relocate mission by doing just one part of the switch. Finally, when moving spies from the spy area to the reception area, you can make use of the reception area slots to keep track of where a spy cube was moved from and which mission was used to move it. This is not essential, but can help with keeping track of who moved what during a round. By way of example, if you performed a switch and you decided to move the spy cube from the nanotech department into the biotech, then that cube will end up here, indicating that it came from the nanotech department as part of the switch mission. Then, when moving a spy cube from the biotech spy area, it would end up in the nanotech reception area here, indicating that it came from biotech during the switch mission. As mentioned, this is entirely optional and you can simply move each cube into the general reception area if you'd prefer. After all missions have been executed, move all the spy cubes in a department's reception area into the dedicated column of slots for each spy, green, orange, dark grey, in the spying area of that department. Using these columns helps to highlight which spy is dominating the spy area of a department. Points are scored based on who has the most spies in a department. The player with the most spies will score 3 points. If you have the second most spies, you score 1 point. Any ties will result in 1 point each. This includes 3-way ties. If you are in third place or have no spies in a department, then you score no points. Taking each department in turn, determine which spy is dominating a department and award spy points accordingly. The spy scoring player aid gives a range of possible scoring configurations and indicates the amount of spy points earned. Let's look at an example. In the biotech department, the minister has been assassinated, so spy points will be earned. Spy green is dominant and scores 3 points. In the nuke tech department, the minister is on their ministerial spot, and so no spy points can be scored. Had the minister not been on their ministerial spot, then spy orange and the double agent would have drawn, and both scored 1 point each. In the nanotech department, the minister is distracted by a crisis and not on the ministerial spot. The double agent is dominant with 2 cubes and scores 3 points. Spy orange and spy green each have 1 cube and so draw and score 1 point each.
Now that the round is over, the assassinated minister will be moved to the next available slot in the Foreign Office, or removed from the game if none was available. The minister dealing with the crisis will be returned to their ministerial spot.
Now that all the points have been added to the spy position tracker board, we can assess the current state of play. The double agent is highest on the tracker board and so is in first place. Just below them is spy orange in second place, and below them is spy green in third place.
At the end of the round, the losing player will take over, or continue, the role of spy ops and decide who goes first in the next round. In the case of a tie, then the spy ops role will move to the player who wasn't spy ops in the current round. Whoever becomes spy ops will earn the briefcase for the next round.
There are a number of configurations that the green, orange and double agent spies can have on the spy points tracker board. The spy position player aid shows all possible configurations and who is currently winning and who is losing. The general rule is that if a player's spy cube is clearly in second place, then they are currently winning. If their spy cube is clearly in third place, then they are losing. However, if neither player's spy cube is in second place, but the double agent is, then it is the player in first place that is currently winning. They were cunning enough to get the double agent ahead of the other player's spy. There are 8 different spy position configurations, so you will need to consult the spy position player aid in your first few games.
For instance, the case where the double agent is in second place is depicted on the 5th line of the spy position aid. It shows that the player currently in first place is considered to be winning and the spy in third place losing, so they become the spy ops for the next round and take on the briefcase. The game ends once both players have completed executing their missions at the end of the 8th round. Update the spy points tracker board to determine who has won. The player in second place will have spied just enough and will escape to become the spyon super spy, then slip back into the shadows. The spy in first place drew too much attention to themselves and will be hunted by the state. In the case of a tie, both players lose and will have to play again to determine who will be crowned spyon super spy.